A couple things I want to talk about here as far as hooking this board up. Right now, ignore this mess. This is for an amplifier we'll talk about in a minute. Right now I have 12 volts going into the board to power it. This is audio. This is audio from my laptop, and we're going to run it straight to the board here in a second. This other one is the other channel audio, and right now I just have it plugged into the speaker so you can hear what's being played. Although it's not very loud, so I think it's going to show up. We'll see. First I want to run directly to the lip lights. And because spacing is different, I need a jumper here. But we're running our audio signal directly in. This twisted pair goes into the audio of the lip lights. I got a Johnny 5 soundboard on repeat. I'm not sure if the audio shows up. It's pretty weak, but it's saying need input at this point. Right now, because I'm not amplified, I got the gain turned all the way up and it still doesn't reach. But we'll talk about that in a minute too. So you can do it this way, but you're likely to get interference from stuff. An isolation transformer is definitely the best bet. Now you cannot run it this way if your audio amplifier is not an isolated amplifier. So this example here, I just soldered some header pins to, so I can plug it in the breadboard. So if we plug it in here, our audio spacing is a little different here, so I need to put a jumper. But polarity doesn't matter when you're using a transformer like this. And also this completely isolates electrically the input from the board. The audio on this board and the power supply share the same ground, so that's where you end up with the ground loop issue with some amplifiers. So if I play it, it sounds no different, but we're isolated, which is a good thing. This is a 600 ohm 1-to-1 transformer. 8 ohm might work better depending on what your amplifier impedance requirement is. Okay, that's that part. Let me show you a disaster here with a lot of these little mini audio amplifiers. And I didn't realize this till I bought a couple of them. I got this one and another one, different style, a little smaller, just to experiment with, and was playing with it yesterday. So these are our speaker connections. I am going to go ahead and run those straight to the speaker. My audio input now I am going to plug in up here. So what we got at this point, audio is going in. I have 2 potentiometers set up as volume controls, one for left channel, one for the right channel. This channel here is going to your speaker. This one is going to come out and we're going to run it to the lip lights. Okay, notice we're on. Got us off now. Now here's the problem. We run this to the lip lights, and this is the same whether we use an isolation transformer or not. This cheap amplifier actually outputs noise all the time. Look at that. So just plugged in, I'm on. There's not even any audio playing, and that's what I get. If I play audio, they're no different. And that does that whether I got the isolation transformer or not. So let me show you another amplifier real quick that works a lot better. Okay, on this one we got a lot better amplifier. This one's based on the TDA 7377 chip. The trick with this one especially is you do require this isolation transformer. The first time I hooked this up, I hooked it up straight, and when the lights and the amp are running off the same power supply, every time sound would activate, it would basically create a short and it would reset my DC converter I was using. And luckily I was using one that was only a couple amps, or it could have fried the trace on this board or damaged something. but it didn't. Right now we have it all plugged in and it's hooked to the laptop. We're not playing anything, but notice we're not lighting up, where there's no interference, there's no static here. So if I play something, we're playing, but our gain's turned down at the moment. One thing I don't like about this, and I'm going to change before I use it, is I'm going to have two separate potentiometers instead of a dual potentiometer for the left and right channel, because one thing that'll make easier is this gain adjustment's a little hard to get to when it's mounted in the robot. If I turn this all the way up and then have a second potentiometer for volume control, I can use that as the gain for this Liplight board and then have a second knob for the volume. But if it's set up like this and they adjust together, you will find your highest sounding phrase and you would adjust your gain based on that. So turn it up a little bit. We're working.
No. Excellent. No shit. I have questions, queries. Malfunction. Malfunction.
Okay. So what I'm going to show you now is how to adjust the gain on this. The trick here is the way this software works for the decay rate, because if you notice they don't shut off completely, they fade out more like the robot in the movie. For that to work properly, you can't have the gain set too high. If you have the gain set too high and it goes past these 19 steps, it freezes and gets glitchy, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second here.
Malfunction.
Let me get this on repeat.
Malfunction. 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 Malfunction.
That's turned all the way up too high.
Malfunction. Malfunction. Malfunction.
We're getting a little glitchy. Weird stuff happening here.
Malfunction. Malfunction.
I turn it back down.
Malfunction. 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 Malfunction.
Now we're working better.
Malfunction. Malfunction. Malfunction.
So the whole idea here is we want to adjust the gain till probably the 17th, so the third one in from the end here. That one's lighting. This one could be flickering. This one probably shouldn't be on yet, because when you hit high peaks, that should go on. If it goes above that in the software, that's when you get the glitch. So I'll turn it up past it at first. Now notice it's glitching. It's getting jumpy. If I back down, just add a little bit until this one starts to light. And that's better. Something to note on this board, you'll notice these pair of LEDs here are dimmer. When I was working on putting it on this board, I was powering it up and it was actually laying off to the side, and it laid on top of some components and everything shut off, and ever since those are dimmer. And I think I might have hurt the transistor on that side, but I haven't messed with it yet. This is just my test board that I use to tinker with, so not a big deal on my end. Alright, let's try this again here just to see. Go up tab. Now if we get to where we start lighting the back, then it starts to glitch. It's dropping down. So back off a little bit. Now it's working right. So adjusting the gain too high can definitely make it glitchy. The amplifier, if you get a crappy amplifier, that could definitely hurt it too. I was liking the idea of this one because it was small and I could fit it in the board I'm designing for the head, but that did not work out. So we're going to go with something with a little more quality for the audio. Definitely when you wire this, use a 2-channel amp or 2 single-channel amps. This needs to be on its own, isolated from the speaker. What I've noticed when I tried to pair them off of the same amp or same channel is your back EMF that comes from the speaker actually interferes with this. But isolation transformer is pretty much a must. One thing I noticed I have on mine, I have a couple of nose basket servos are old, like probably 16-year-old high-tech gear servos I pulled out of another project, and there's one of them that's a little noisy and it interferes with this. I'm not sure why it does, but I was running it straight and that was an issue. Once I put the isolation transformer in it, that changed it. Alright, good luck. There'll be more about this in the instruction sheet.